PSLV 33 కాసేపట్లో నింగిలోకి దూసుకెళ్లనుంది. ఇప్పుడు లైవ్ లో చూద్దాం.
स्ट्रैप-ऑन्स का यूज किया है, इसे विस्तारित संस्करण का उपयोग किया है, जैसे चंद्रयान 1 आपको याद होगा, या IRNSS की विभिन्न श्रृंखला के उपग्रहों का याद होगा, या मार्स ऑर्बिटर मिशन की याद होगी। तो इसी तरीके से हम लगातार इसको संयोजित करके जोड़ते रहते हैं। हम लगभग 1 मिनट की दूरी पर और बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण क्षण जो परिणति होने जा रही है हम आप तक पहुंचाएंगे। इस समय हम केवल 50 सेकंड की दूरी पर
minus 45 seconds. 45 seconds for liftoff.
Minus 40 seconds. Minus 35 seconds. Minus 30 seconds.
Programs activated.
Roger. Minus 25 seconds. Minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, plus 1. PS1 on ground, it's strap-on ignited.
So PS1 ignited, vehicle lifted off safely from the umbilical tower.
Auto tracking.
PSLV बिल्कुल आकाश की ओर हमारे अथक प्रयासों की परिणत एक ऐतिहासिक घटनाक्रम हमारी आंखों के सामने साकार होता होगा। एक कहानी, एक कल्पना यथार्थ में बदलती हुई देश को एक स्वतंत्र भारत में ही विकसित प्रादेशिक नवागन उपग्रह प्रणाली का अस्तित्व सामने लाता हुआ हमारा PSLV, जिसकी गड़गड़ाहट से समूचा आकाश थर्राता हुआ और लगता है जैसे अंतरिक्ष की गहराई कम पड़ रही है।
So PSLV air lift strap-ons at 25 seconds as planned has been ignited. Now the vehicle is moving with the first stage and the 6 solid strap-ons, and the time is around 52 seconds.
Plus 55 seconds.
And it has crossed a range of around 11 kilometers. So at 70 seconds we should have the separation of the ground lead strap-ons, followed by the separation of the air lead strap-ons at 90 seconds. So right now the time is 68.8 seconds.
Ground lead strap-on
yes,
separated.
The ground lead strap-on has been separated. You can see on your screens the 4 ground lead strap-ons, a trace of the strap-ons being seen in the clear sky that is right now. In another 8 seconds to go for the confirmation on the separation of the air lead strap-on. 88.8 seconds. The vehicle is at an altitude of almost yes, we have the confirmation. Air lead strap-on has been successfully separated at 92 seconds, and the vehicle presently is at an altitude of around 50 kilometers. It has crossed one of the most complex atmospheric regime of flight which every launch vehicle encounters.
जी हाँ, प्रथम चरण के इग्निशन के प्रज्वलन के पश्चात लगातार आकाश की ओर बढ़ता हुआ PS जो प्रथम चरण था वो अलग हो चुका है, पृथक हो चुका है, और उसके बाद द्वितीय चरण भी प्रज्वलित हो चुका है। हम लगभग इस समय 123 सेकंड व्यतीत कर चुके हैं।
Second stage performance normal.
So first stage separated at 110 seconds, and the second stage, which is a liquid stage, successfully ignited, and we have the confirmation that the second stage performance is normal and vehicle has gone into the closed loop. From this instant till the satellite injection, the steering program will be generated by the onboard computer to precisely inject the satellite in its predefined orbit.
जी हाँ, निष्पादन बिल्कुल सामान, रिलेटिव वेलोसिटी जो है वो 2.4 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की पहुंच चुकी है, और हम करीब करीब श्रीहरिकोटा से 176 किलोमीटर की दूरी पर पहुंच गए हैं। एक छोटा सा एनिमेशन आपके सामने, कैसे जो चरण हैं, स्ट्रैप-ऑन्स हैं, वो कैसे अलग हुए, इसी की जानकारी देता हुआ ये छोटा सा एक एनिमेशन आपके सामने।
So what you're seeing is the short animation depicting the events that has happened during the first stage of flight, which indicated the separation of the 4 ground lead strap-on, air lead strap-on in the first stage. Second stage performance is indicated normal. We are 189 seconds into the flight. The vehicle has reached an altitude of 110 kilometers. So any time from now we should hear the announcement for the payload fairing separation. Nominally it is planned yes.
Heat shield separated.
Heat shield has been separated. And what you are seeing on your screen is the ground trace. The trace, the vehicle is presently going after it has taken off from Sriharikota range. This is the ground trace. The red one is the pre-flight prediction, and on your screen with the green color one is the one where the vehicle is presently going through the it's a predefined path. So the flight is 230 seconds into the flight, and the velocity is around 4 kilometer. The altitude around 125 kilometers. So as per the planned sequence, the second stage should separate.
Second stage performance normal.
Second stage performance has been indicated as normal. Second stage should separate in the next 10 seconds when it would have reached an altitude of 131 kilometers.
जी हाँ, द्वितीय चरण के प्रज्वलन के कुछ ही क्षणों बाद लगभग अगर हम प्रज्वलन के समय की बात करें तो उससे लगभग 200 सेकंड के बाद हीट शील्ड सेपरेट हो जाती है। जी हाँ, द्वितीय चरण भी अलग हो चुका है और तृतीय चरण प्रज्वलित हो चुका है। दोनों ये जो पृथक्करण जो क्रियाएं हैं ये बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होती हैं। ये यान को विचलित कर सकती हैं अपने पथ से, लेकिन अगर आप हमारे जो कर्व देख पा रहे होंगे उससे बिल्कुल साफ प्रदर्शित होता है कि अनुमानित और अवलोकित पथ दोनों एक दूसरे को फॉलो करते हुए सामान्य निष्पादन के साथ हमारा PSLV अंतरिक्ष में अपने पथ पर अग्रसर होता हुआ इस समय लगभग 5.2 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड की वेग प्राप्त किया जा चुका है और हम करीब 725 किलोमीटर का रेंज और ऊंचाई करीब 135 किलोमीटर की प्राप्त कर चुके हैं।
So the vehicle is in the third stage flight, which is a solid stage, and the time is 310 seconds. Altitude of around 135 seconds, 35 kilometers. As per the pre-flight predictions, at 385 seconds we should have the burnout of the third stage, which is around 60 seconds from now. And after the burnout of the third stage, there will be a long coasting that will happen before the third stage gets separated from the fourth stage and followed up by the ignition of the fourth stage. So 335 seconds, the altitude is 136, velocity 6.2 kilometer per second. If you look at the display plots of the downrange, what you see on your screen, very precise flight path that has happened during the first stage and second stage of flight, and also during the third stage of flight. And if you look at closely the altitude profile, the pre-flight and the velocity predictions, they have been, the curves have been, this is on your screen. We have the bottom curve, which is the altitude profile, and the top curve, which is above this altitude profile, is the velocity. So very close match with the pre-flight predictions. So 370 seconds, 138 kilometers, and the vehicle has traveled a range of almost 1,200 kilometers right now.
जी हाँ, हमें लगभग 9.6 किलोमीटर प्रति सेकंड का जो वेग है वो प्राप्त करना है और ऊंचाई लगभग 497 किलोमीटर जब हमारा IRNSS-1G यान से अलग होगा। इस समय हम एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण क्षण के करीब पहुंचने जा रहे हैं जब जो तृतीय चरण है वो अपना निष्पादन पूरा करके यान से अलग होने की कगार पर होगा। आप IRNSS-1G को 284 ±5 किलोमीटर उपभू या पेरिजी और 20,657 ±675 किलोमीटर अपभू वाली दीर्घवृत्तीय उपभू तुल्यकालिक कक्षा सब GTO में प्रक्षेपित किया जाएगा जो भूमध्य रेखीय समतल के सापेक्ष में 17.86 डिग्री झुकी हुई होगी। इस प्रारंभिक कक्षा में अंतक्षेपण या इंजेक्शन के पश्चात उपग्रह में लगी दोनों सौर पट्टिकाएं पूर्व नियोजित व समयबद्ध कार्यक्रम के अनुसार प्रस्तुत हो जाएंगी। उपग्रह से संकेत मिलते ही कर्नाटक के हासन जिले में स्थित मुख्य नियंत्रण सुविधा या भूकेंद्र MCF हासन उपग्रह को अपने नियंत्रण में ले लेगा। फिर कुछ समय अंतराल के बाद उचित कक्षा और कक्षी बिंदुओं पर द्रव अपभू मोटर लैम्प के प्रज्वलन द्वारा इन प्लेन और आउट ऑफ प्लेन करेक्शन करके कक्षी त्रुटि निवारण करके कक्षा में अभीष्ट उत्तापन किया जाएगा। इस समय लगभग 7 मिनट 47 सेकंड का सफर खत्म करते हुए PSLV
470 seconds. As for the pre-flight typings, the PS3 burnout happened at 385 seconds. Right now, the vehicle is going through the coasting phase between the third and fourth stage, and the third stage separation should happen roughly around 663 seconds, which is roughly less than 200 seconds, when the vehicle would be at an altitude of around 190 kilometers. After the separation of the third stage from the fourth stage, within the next 10 seconds, we'll have the ignition of the fourth stage, which will burn for nearly 500 seconds. The velocity is now 7.3 kilometers and time is 510 seconds.
जी हाँ, PSLV C33 जैसे हमने अब बताया था कि 4 चरण होते हैं, बहुत महत्वपूर्ण होता है। और इस संबंध में VSSC विक्रम साराभाई स्पेस सेंटर और लिक्विड प्रोपल्सन सिस्टम सेंटर जो है उनके भी केंद्र बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रोल प्ले करते हैं। मैं इसी के केंद्रीय निर्देशों की जानकारी के लिए आप तक पहुंचाऊंगा एक वीडियो क्लिपिंग। उसके पहले इसरो उपग्रह केंद्र बैंगलोर और स्पेस एप्लीकेशन सेंटर अहमदाबाद दोनों बहुत महत्वपूर्ण केंद्र हैं इसरो के। इनके प्रमुख निदेशकों ने क्या हमारे सामने अपना अनुभव, कैसे इसके निर्माण में जानकारी दी, इसी की छोटी सी एक वीडियो क्लिपिंग के लिए मैं आपके सामने एक लघु फिल्म प्रस्तुत करता हूं, जहां पे श्री डॉक्टर तवन मिश्रा सर, सैक के डायरेक्टर, और डॉक्टर एम अन्नादुरई, इसरो उपग्रह केंद्र के डायरेक्टर, इनके अथक परिश्रम के निष्कर्ष का परिणाम है हमारा ये IRNSS-1G।
So 580 seconds into the flight, 178 kilometers altitude, vehicle is still going through the coasting phase, another 200 seconds.
एक छोटी सी वीडियो क्लिपिंग जो इनके अनुभवों को आप तक पहुंचाएगा।
Brunei tracking in main auto.
So 600 seconds into the flight, altitude of 182
Performance
kilometers.
during combined coasting is normal.
And we just heard the announcement, the performance of the vehicle during the combined coasting of PS3 and PS4 stage is normal. And during the coasting phase, there is no imparting of the velocity from the vehicle because there is no thrust that is being generated from the launch vehicle. But whatever energy that has been gained by the launch vehicle is being converted into a potential energy as the vehicle is climbing the altitude.
राधा कृष्ण जी, हम जानकारी चाह रहे थे हमारे केंद्र निदेशकों के अनुभव के बारे में। एक छोटी सी क्लिपिंग मैं निवेदन करूंगा आपके सामने।
SAC focuses on the design and development of space-borne instruments or payloads for ISRO missions. SAC also develops and operationalizes applications of space technologies for national development. The center also develops the ground systems, earth stations, ground terminals, and image processing systems.
PS3 stays
Seven stars
separated.
in the sky, the Saptarshi, they point to the polar. 7 rivers of India, they connect all of us.
PS4 engine
And
started.
similarly, the 7 satellites of IRNSS will give us direction, position, and also connect the whole of India. Now that only 7 satellites can cover whole of India and give us our location. We went with a dual frequency system, L and S band, so that the ionospheric errors can be corrected. And each one of its electronics is built and conceived in India. It is a made in India payload, and its concept, its coding, its software, everything is built in India. Indian scientists could achieve this one, and it's a great credit to India's ingenuity, and it will open to a system which is much more accurate than the conventional navigation system what you people, all of us, are accustomed to it.
ISRO Satellite Centre, ISAC, in Bengaluru, develops the satellite platforms popularly called bus and integrate these with the satellite payloads. ISAC also carries out research and development activities in the areas of structures, thermal systems and spacecraft mechanisms, digital and communication systems, integration and power systems and control systems.
With the IRNSS-1G launch and reaching orbit and getting operationalized in a couple of weeks from now, the full constellation of IRNSS-1 consisting of the 7 satellites will be in operation. Starting from IRNSS-1A to 1G, this 7 satellite realization is its own lessons ISRO Satellite Centre has learned, wherein even the satellite technology is repeatable. Accordingly, the various systems have been realized in-house, then transferred to industry. Now you look at here, the major portion of the components, the systems came from industry, giving an impetus to ISRO so that we can, with the industry and ISRO cooperation, we can do a lot more. the constellation has a fairly good percentage of composition came from the Indian industry is concerned. Accordingly, when we go for the next generation of IRNSS satellites, these lessons learned will be used very effectively. Over and above that, even the components systems realized for IRNSS, we are even trying to see how it can be utilized for other missions also. For example, brick has come, brick can be used for the school or temples or churches or the hospitals like that. Similarly, the building components of IRNSS being considered very effectively, whether it can be used for other communication, meteorological, even remote sensing missions effectively. That way, when we are operationalizing IRNSS constellation, this has given a lot more beyond even navigation, how Indian space program can go proceed well.
So welcome back. As we are going through the video documentary, we had two very important events that has happened. One was the separation of the third stage, PST separation, which is a solid stage at 662 seconds. Immediately following the separation of the third stage, as planned, within 10 seconds, we had the successful ignition of the PS4 stage, the fourth stage of PSLV at 673 seconds. Right now, the vehicle is at an altitude of around 235 kilometers. With a velocity of around 7.97, and if you look at the plot here, the vehicle has almost reached the orbital velocity, where we are seeing the perigee, which is the nearest point to the Earth, with an altitude of around 212 kilometers, and apogee, which is the farthest point from the Earth, at an altitude of 3,500. That means the four stages of the rocket has almost imparted the orbital velocity for the satellite to stay in orbit right now. In the subsequent phase of burning, which is for the next 200 plus seconds of the PS4 stage, you will find the apogee, the desired apogee is roughly around 20,000 kilometer plus, will be imparted. All the energy that the launch vehicle is going to generate will be imparted in the apogee. So you will be seeing on your screen the continuous increase in the apogee, where you are seeing the perigee of 217 kilometers, apogee of 4,200 and 4,300 kilometer with an inclination of 17.84 degrees. The flight time is 945 seconds.
राधाकृष्ण जी, एक एनिमेशन फिल्म छोटी सी जो है किस तरह से चरण पृथक्कृत हुए, हम कोशिश करेंगे दर्शकों तक पहुंचाने के लिए। ये किस तरह से आप देख पा रहे हैं अपने स्क्रीन पे, किस तरह से तृतीय चरण जो है वो अपने चतुर्थ और अंतिम चरण से अलग हुआ, ये उसका एक एनिमेटेड चलचित्र जो आपके सामने पहुंचाया गया। इनफैक्ट ऐसी लगभग 6 पृथक्करण घटनाएं होती हैं जो पीएसएल में होती हैं। चारों चरण के अलगाव के बाद बहुचरण आधारित यान के विभिन्न चरणों को उनके उपयोग हो जाने के बाद मुख्य यान से अलग कर दिया जाता है। इस पृथक्करण के लिए आवश्यक है कि वो सुरक्षित और संढक मुक्त हों। ये एमसीसी के अंदर का दृश्य सभी दर्शक देख पा रहे होंगे अपने स्क्रीन पर, किस तरह से विभिन्न वैज्ञानिक इस महत्वपूर्ण क्षण के साक्षी होते हुए हम लगभग 16 मिनट 57 सेकंड की दूरी पर, इस समय हम करीब 1010 सेकंड का समय व्यतीत कर चुके हैं।
1015 seconds, 291 kilometers.
17 minutes.
The orbit is 228 by, with an apogee of around 7,000 kilometers. We have another less than 200 seconds to go. As per the pre-flight predictions, the cutoff of the fourth stage of rocket should happen at 1181 seconds, and 37 seconds after the cutoff of the fourth stage, we will have the separation of the IRNSS-1G at 1200 seconds.
जी हाँ, दो और महत्वपूर्ण केंद्र हैं वीएसएससी और एलपीएससी। इसके बारे में जानकारी के लिए आइए हम देखते हैं एक और छोटी सी वीडियो क्लिपिंग, जिसमें दोनों केंद्र के प्रमुख अग्रिम पंक्ति से निर्देशित करते हुए वीएसएससी
and development activities of satellite launch vehicles and sounding rockets are carried out and made ready for launch operations. The center pursues research and development activities for associated technologies such as launch vehicle design, propellants, aerodynamics, avionics, and polymers and composites.
The seat for Indian space program was sown in this area, Thumba of Thiruvananthapuram district. And this seed now has grown into a big banyan tree called Vikram Sarabhai Space Centre. This activity really started sometimes 1963 from the sounding rockets. This system now grew into the bigger launch vehicles like a PSLV,
Fourth stage
GSLV,
performance normal.
GSLV Mark III. This PSLV really is a vehicle, workhorse vehicle. Now this workhorse vehicle is really injected various types of satellite for different applications, either remote sensing
19 minutes.
or communications or meteorology or weather monitoring. And you know that the recently that our all IRNSS systems are launched by this our beloved PSLV.
Can you imagine running your vehicle without fuel? Well, ISRO's launch vehicles and spacecraft are no different. They are powered by propulsion systems that are effectively fueled by the efforts of Liquid Propulsion Systems Centre, LPSC. This is the center of excellence in the area of liquid
PS4
propulsion.
engine shut off.
Here,
Injection
scientists
conditions are
and engineers
achieved.
carry out research and development of earth-storable and cryogenic propulsion systems. Key elements of launch vehicles and spacecraft
Plus
like
20 minutes.
engines, stages, control systems and components are built at LPSC. The center has units located at Valiamala in Kerala and at Bengaluru in Karnataka. LPSC's activities cover a wide
IRNSS-1G,
range of
the seventh
technologies,
navigation satellite, is
including
separated
fuel
and placed
chemistry,
in the sub-zero
satellite thruster
orbit.
development, transducers,
Mission Director,
and
separation
system
of IRNSS-1G, the seventh satellite in the navigation constellation is confirmed, and Mission Director hereby declares that PSLV C33 IRNSS-1G mission is fully accomplished.
Predefined orbit of 284 km perigee with an apogee of 20,650